Please don't feed me because I know
What's up guys, it's Mr. Narius T here for a quick deck tech on this green-red Landfall decks that's going around in Pauper. So let's just hop right into it. We have 4 Lightning Bolts, the greatest red card ever printed. I really wish they'd bring it back in Standard, but I very seriously doubt they will. They just decided that 1 mana, instant, deal 3 damage is just too good, so we're going to add a colorless in it to make it a 2 cost. So every time I see a lightning strike or something similar into it, it really makes me sad that they just didn't reprint Lightning Bolt. But that's why I play Eternal format, so I get to play whenever I want. And then right after that, we're getting right into the meat and potatoes of this deck. We have McKindy's Slide Runner. It is a 2/1 for 2 landfall. +1/+1 every time a land enters the battlefield, and it has trample. This is a great card, great creature. In Standard, it's seeing some play. And that tells you something. If a landfall creature is seeing play in Standard, it can't be that bad. But right after it is literally the most iconic landfall card. Plated Geopede, first strike, landfall, +2/+2, but it's a 1/1 for 2. In the original Zendikar, this was a limited powerhouse. This would be a first pick sometimes. I'm not even joking, but it made such a fun card to build around. Right after that, we have something that makes our Plated Geopede even better, which is hard to believe, but it's Temur Battle Rage. Instant 2 cost, target creature gains double strike until end of turn. Right there is enough for me to play this card. But right under that, Ferocious. If we control a creature with power 4 or greater, which we will, usually, the creature also gains trample. So it turns your Plated Geopede into not just a big dude, but a big dude with reach that can end the game very quickly. Great card to have. Really glad that they put it at common, so I get to play with it in Pauper. Right after that, we have Valakut Predator. We only have 3 of these because it's the top end of our creature curve that has landfall, and usually the top end of our curve, period. And it's landfall 2/2. It's a vanilla 2/2 with landfall that gives it +2/+2. And that's good enough sometimes. But right after that, we have Vines of the Vastwood. This is our only protection spell in our deck. It gives a creature hexproof, essentially, and that really can save our games and save our creatures so that we can win the game. But it also has a little extra in that it can make something even bigger finisher that gives it +4/+4 if you kick it for an extra green. So the utility and versatility of this card is really what puts it in the deck, puts it in the right place in the deck, and I really enjoy this card in the deck in that it allows us to protect the threats that we do want to protect. Right after that, we have Snapping Gnarlid, just a vanilla with landfall +1/+1, but it's at 2 mana. It's really aggressively costed, really good for this deck. But after that, we have something that's a little of a powerhouse in our deck. We have Harrow, and any deck that has a lot of basic lands, I love running Harrow in it. 3 cost instant that has you sack land as part of the cost and search your library up for 2 basic lands, put them on the battlefield. This allows you to, with the Evolving Wilds, which you see here, have a 4 landfall trigger turn very easily, and it's really powerful, especially with Plated Geopede or our Trample Slide Runner. Right under that, we have our biggest cost spell, which is the Hooting Mandrills. It's the biggest converted mana cost, but we usually only pay about 1 mana for it because it has Delve, which Delve allows you to exile cards from your graveyard to pay for the colorless mana, and that really gives us a little extra value out of each of these cards that we've already played, or if they've gotten countered, or they've gotten killed, what have you. This allows us to put a very respectable 4/4 with trample body onto the battlefield for 1 green mana, which is just ridiculously good and really aggressively costed. Now we're getting into the land base, the most important part of this deck. 4 Evolving Wilds. And this deck is very unique in the fact that you want to keep these in your hand if you can cast your creatures without playing this card, because this allows you to play a creature on turn 2, play Evolving Wilds, get a land, and get 2 landfall triggers out of your peeps, your creatures, and it just turns them into such monsters. It can make a Plated Geopede turn into a 5/5 on turn 3 to swing in, and that is just amazing. Then right after that, we have 8 Forest, 8 Mountains, very clean, very quick, very easy, into a Teetering Peaks, and I would have more of these in the deck if I didn't have a playset of Terramorphic Expanses and Evolving Wilds, because we don't need that many lands to come into Battlefield tapped. But if we were going to make a concession for it coming into tapped, this would be a very good concession to have. It enters the battlefield tap, but it gives a creature +2/+0 until end of turn, and it adds for red. Now, this allows us to get a little extra value out of our landfalls and land drops by giving something +2/+0. So it's very, very good. It can turn a plated GP into a 5/4 on turn 3. So I really, really enjoy this card, and if I was going to add some more land in, this is what I'd be adding in, but I don't think we need any more land. 24 lands is a very, very high number, but we need all of them that we can get. We have 4 Terramorphic Expanses, same as Evolving Wilds, not really going to spend much time on that, but here we have a card that I really, really enjoy, Adventuring Gear, a 1-cost equipment that equips for 1 that has landfall. Equipped creature gets +2/+2, and I really enjoy the design space they had on this. Instead of giving the creature landfall and the artifact itself having landfall, it allows you to equip to a landfall creature to get double the effect, essentially. If they had the equipped creature gains landfall, it would not affect your landfall creatures because it would just replace it. It'd be like having lifelink or trample. But the fact that the artifact has landfall allows you to get a little bit more out of your landfall creatures with these, and this can turn very, very aggressive very, very quickly. I've had games where I've turned 1 Adventuring Gear, turn 2 Plated Geopede or another 2 land drop or landfall creature, turn 3 equip Evolving Wilds, sack it, landfall, get so much damage out of it, it's ridiculous. And if they didn't have a creature, they're taking such a chunk, it's amazing. And then right after that, we have our sideboard, which we have Gutshot. Phyrexian Mana was a mistake, so we're going to abuse it. Gutshot, Phyrexian Red, deals 1 damage to target creature or player, can take out a very, very problemsome creature like Delver before it flips for no mana, which allows us to tap out and keep playing our threats and getting damage, so I really, really enjoy that. The deck list that I got this from, instead of having these 4 electricity, it had 4 Pyroblast, and I think that was more of a hedge against the Control and Delver matchups, but during playing the deck, I found that I was beating up on Delver and Control more often than not, so I elected to replace those with Electrickery because when I was playing against the very popular Elf deck that's been rising in popularity, and they were beating my face into the pavement every time I played them. So I put in this because the elves have a lot of 1 toughness creatures until they Timberwatch Elf and make it like 7. And this can it turns into a 2-mana field wipe a lot of the times, or just leaves them with a Timberwatch Elf or something around that nature, and I really, really enjoy it, so I threw it in instead of the Pyroblast. If Delver got a lot more popular, even more than it already is, and the Green Elf deck started falling in popularity, I would put the Pyroblast back in. Either way, that is up to you. It's a personal preference, and it really depends on what you think you're going to find in the meta. Right after that, we have Ancient Grudge, which is our premier artifact destruction, especially since we can get 2 sides of it. It allows us to really have a game against Affinity by being able to destroy their lands. It turns into a 2-mana sinkhole, and it can get rid of most of their threats. And Tron, it's not too shabby against either. Naturalize, same thing, except it also hits enchantments, so Tortured Existence and things like that can really, really wreck us sometimes, so having that is a very good hedge against that a little bit. There's only 2 in there in it, so it's not a high chance we get it, but if we do get it and they play it, it feels so good to be able to naturalize their Tortured Existence or other problemsome enchantment. And then we have Grazing Gladeheart. It allows us to have a little bit of life gain against Burn or the mono red Goblin deck or any really aggressive deck, even the mirror match it's great in, and that it allows us to gain 2 life for each land we can play, and that can just give us enough time to kill our opponent or go around them, and it's not to be confused as a weak card. It does die to Lightning Bolt, but let's face it, most things do. So the fact that we can just get an extra little bit of life out of it just to stay alive till we can kill them is really, really, really good. But that's it. I really enjoy this deck. I really love playing it. It's an aggressive, fast deck, and it's such a blast to play. The only problem I found with this deck, with having 24 lands in it, is that you need to mulligan aggressively and smartly. If you don't, you're going to be dead in the water sometimes and flooded. But if you get the right bit, it's a little bit of a glass cannon. But if you get the right mix of creatures and spells and just keep drawing land, you can end a game very, very quickly. And if you really enjoy that type of deck, I think you should pick this one up. It's a great, great competitive deck and really, really fun to play for the Pauper format. But that's it. That's all I got. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed it, like and subscribe and tell your friends. If not, please tell me what do you think I could do to do a little bit better. I love constructive criticism, but other than that, have a great day and thank you for watching. Goodbye.